Welcome to today's webinar over the 2018 handrail enhancements. My name is Laura Hackle, and I'll be covering the new features including add handrail to stringer, continue flat rail, moving posts, and now you can just add a grab bar only. You can type in your questions as I present the webinar, and I will answer them at the end. So the first thing that I'm going to go over is in the model. One thing that I want to make sure that I have on when I mess around with handrail is to have my member ends turned on. So to do that, I go up into my display options. So that'll be up in the upper left corner where the little computer monitor is. And then in the middle section here, there is member ends always displayed. So I want to go ahead and check that on and hit OK. So for these member ends, if I scroll in here, I already have one handrail on here, but these are my member ends, and these are going to be very important when I start using some of the new enhancements. So the first one I want to get started with is the add handrail to stringer. So before, when you used to add a handrail to a stair stringer, you would have to go ahead and surface to the top of the stringer and then create a section view. And then you would have to get to that elevation view, lay out some construction lines, and pick your points for how you wanted the handrail to be. Well, now I can just select the actual stringer I want to add it to. So you don't select the whole stair, you just select what stringer on that stair you want to add it to. Over on the right-hand side, I have my little handrail drawer. And the one that I want to do is add rail to stringer on the far right side. Now it's asking me to locate my stair stringer. So I'm going to select my stringer. It's going to pick up my actual return here as well. So it'll pick up if I have a return, and this one doesn't have a return, but you'll see that it's giving me a preview of if I were to hit OK, that's how this would look. So my first thing I have is additional member line offset. I want to offset this out because I want to put a shear tab. Otherwise, it's going to center it on my stringer. So my additional member line offset, I'm going to put 3.5 and hit tab. My left end condition, so this will be my left end down here. I want to set that to a P end. And then my left return length, I want to actually set that back. So I'm going to do -6. So I could have a return length where it will extend out and add on, but I'm actually going to do -6, so it's going to set it back up the stringer. I have my left floor thickness and I have my right end condition. I'm going to have that be a splice. So what I'm going to do here is add in 2 stringers or 2 handrails to my stringers, and then I'm going to go around this platform with a new command. So I want this to be my splice and my right return length. So this you have to take a couple things into consideration. 4 feet it's picking up what I have on my return, but I want my right return length to subtract what the return is going to be for my handrail. So that elbow piece that's going to connect in, I want to take that into consideration. That's going to be 9 inches. So I want to subtract that from 4 feet. And then I'm also going to have an offset for my handrail that goes around the platform. I'm going to have that be an offset of 6. So that's going to be offset out 6 inches so I can have my shear tabs in there. So I want to do 4 feet minus the 9 inches that it's going to come back because I want it to have a return. So when it connects back into my stringer. And then I also want to add in the 6 inches as well for my offset for my handrail that goes around my platform. So I'm going to have this be 2'9". This will make sense as I start going around the platform with my other command of continue flat rail. I have my maximum post spacing. Right now I'm just going to leave this at 4'2". And start going down. So a lot of these are the same options as we have in previous webinars. We have our handrail template. So I have it automatically picks up what side this is going to be on for my stringer. My walk side is going to be automatically picked up. That's going to be my far side of the handrail. It'll add in a toe plate, but there is a new option to remove the main section of the toe plate. So here you'll see that there isn't a toe plate going up the slope, but there is one on my return. I do want it to have a grab bar, so there's a grab bar on the far side. And then we have a new option, which I'll get to shortly, which is I can add a grab bar only. So before we would have to delete out everything else of the handrail and just keep the grab bar, but now I have an option that I can do grab bar only. You don't have to do the grab bar only in this specific situation. I could come back and add it, edit the handrail, and there's still the option of grab bar only. My style for this will be if I want it to have pickets, if I want to mesh, or I'm just going to leave this as an empty. We have our top rail overview and our mid rail overview. And then I have my connection. I'm going to set this to a shear tab. Go ahead and hit OK. Now it says locate my stair stringer, so I'm still in this tool or command. So I'm going to go ahead and add that to my far side as well. You do want to make sure that your additional member line offset, you do want to put that in each time. So I'm going to offset 3.5. My left end this time is going to be a splice. So down here, I'm going to put that as a splice because I'm actually going to connect in later on to put a handrail at the landing. My right return length again is going to be, my right condition will also be a splice again. And my right return length, I'm going to have it be the exact same as before. So I want to take into consideration the return length of when it's going to come back in, that elbow piece. So that'll be 9 inches. And then I also want to take in the 6 inches of the offset that I'm going to set out my handrail that goes around the platform. So I'll put 2'9" here. I'm going to leave this all the same, and it is a shear tab. So I'm just going to hit OK. Just right click OK when I'm done. So when I zoom in here, you'll see that I have my shear tabs. And it automatically added this. It also added it at the return. And I have a splice here for both ends. Or both handrail. Since I'm adding to stair stringer still, I'm going ahead and show you the grab bar only. So I'll click add rail to stringer. And I'm going to put in 3.5 again to set that out. So I'm going to make it so it still will connect back. Maybe I have a wall there that I want to connect into. I'm going to go ahead and just set these either to a post or a PN. I'll just set them to a PN. You don't have to, but I'm going to show you later on when I come back. It could just leave them at a splice for now. And I'm going to click on grab bar only, so none of this matters. So here I have my grab bar only. We are working still on new features for the grab bar only. If you do have any requests, I would recommend either typing them in right now or throughout the webinar, and I can create PRs for them, or contacting your support rep to see if there's already been a request made, or we can get that in there for you. Now, let's say maybe right now it's just like just a straight grab bar. So maybe I want it to still return in. If I edit this, it's just the same handrail edit. Here's my grab bar only. So if I uncheck that and hit OK, I have my grab bar, my actual handrail shows up. I can edit it again, change grab bar only. So I can change it after the fact of adding to a stringer. So if I edit this and then go to my ends and my grab bar only, my grab bar, I can do return to the post still. And so it'll still return in. So if I wanted to connect into the wall. We don't have any of the round plate brackets right now, or the round plate connections into, let's say, a wall, but you could easily just create a round plate and copy it as an assembly for now. So I have covered the add to stringer, and now I want to go ahead and show you if I were to go around a perimeter, and I can still connect back into these handrails that are on the stringers. So over on the right hand side, I have continue flat rail. So it looks like this handrail with 2 arrows here going in the clockwise. So if I select it, so I wanted to select my first spliced end, and it kind of shows you a preview here. I'm going to go around my perimeter, so if I go in a counterclockwise position, a positive direction will be out towards me for my offset. So if I pick my first point, it's saying my offset. So if I want to go out towards me, I want it to be positive. So I'm going to put 6 inches. If I wanted to go into the building, that would be -6. And then if I were to be going in a clockwise position, -6 would be out towards me, and +6 would be in towards the building. So since I'm going in counterclockwise, I'll put 6 as my positive. I don't need this to prompt again, but I am going to keep on my show preview. So I click my first point. I'm just going to go around the perimeter. Now let's say I clicked the wrong point. I don't have to exit out of this tool. I can hold down my shift key, and my button bindings you can see up here have changed, and my left click would be my remove. So I can just then click on the same point, and that next point becomes free again. So again, it's hold down my shift key, and my button bindings, there's remove for my left click. So I'm going to go around the perimeter. I could go ahead and connect in to the stair stringer, but I'm just going to show right now. Once I'm done, I can right click. And now it's saying locate my second spliced end. So I don't have another spliced end that I want to connect into right now. So I'm just going to right click OK or enter. You'll see that this looks familiar from there's fields that are used the same as the add to stringer, but also this is my add flat rail that was covered in the 2017 handrail enhancements. So we have our maximum rail length, so it's broken up at 20 feet increments that I have. My minimum splice clearance, I have my return length here, so that's that 9 inches that I have. So it's kind of hard to see right now until I hit OK, but you can see where my mouse is. So that's that 9 inches return length back into my stringer, or my handrail that's on the stringer. So then I have my maximum post spacing. I'm just going to leave that 4'2". My start end is going to be a splice because it's connecting back into a spliced end. I have my finish end is just I'm going to leave it at a P end for now. I'll come back and change this. I have add a toe plate. I don't need a grab bar. And then I have all of these in here from my setup. So I'm just going to hit OK. So here it's going through and matching holes. Here's that return length that I was talking about, that 9 inches that I left. And you can see that it offset it out 6 inches. My toe plates are connected. So now maybe I want to connect back into the stringer. So maybe I had a change order come through and I need to actually connect that back into the stringer. So I'm just going to edit this and change my right end to be a splice. And now I can do the continue flat rail, select my it says locate handrail spliced end. So here's my first one. I'm going to select the corner that I'm going to go around the perimeter. I'm going to hit 6 again. Now instead of connecting these points, because I already have a return that's going to come in here, I'm going to right click. And now it says locate my second spliced end. The same options appear. I'm going to hit OK. So now you can see that it came down here. I have my handrail, and then I have my return of 9 inches. I don't have to connect back into a stringer either. So if I were going around a perimeter and had a chunk of this out of here, I could still connect these two ends. And then I also don't even have to go around a perimeter. I can just connect these two at the stringer of the landing. So I know that's something that a lot of people used to have to manually add in. So what I can do is continue flat rail. It'll say locate handrail spliced end. So I just select that member end of my handrail. I'm not going to go around a perimeter, so I just right click. And then it says locate spliced end. So that's my second one. I just locate the member end of that one as well. It automatically knows to set this out to continue. And if I hit OK, it'll put a shear tab in there as well. And so it kept it at my offset. So I had these offset already at 3.5 inches, and then it knew to keep that offset out there. It did the math and created that shear tab to make sure I get those returns in there as well. So I have in my handrail here, and maybe I have to, it came back and said that I need to change all my spacing instead of 4'2", maybe 3'8" or 3'6". So I can come through, and we have a command here that is adjust rail posts, and it can adjust all the rail posts at once. I could come in and select it by holding down my shift key and make sure that I try to select all of my handrail. But what I'm going to do is actually go by status display, so I make sure that I select only my handrail. So I have my default, I'm going to drop it down to by status display. I want to only select the members that are included here. So I only want to select my members that are my member status and member type of handrail. So I have select members when any of these conditions are true. I dropped this down to member status, member type, and then when I scroll down, oops, I might have passed it. I have handrail. Click OK. And then if I select all of them, only my handrail is selected. So it says by status display. So I can come down here then and do my adjust rail posts. It says locate my handrails. So I'm just going to make a box around them. So all of them are highlighted at once. Right click OK. And I'm going to change this spacing to 3'6". Now it's coming through and locating all of those. So I'm going to right click OK. And it's adjusting all of that spacing at one time. So I have all of these that are at 3'6". I'm going to go ahead and change back just the ones on my stringer so I can just right click. Or sorry, left click and hold down my shift key. And I'm going to change these back to 4'2", just to show how quickly they can get updated. So now that I have changed all of these, I'm going to go around the perimeter and make sure that none of my plates, so here, my plate is clashing with the bolt, so it doesn't have the intelligence. But we can quickly change this by just doing a move post. So in my drawer here, there is move post. If I select it, I can just drag in the direction and there's a preview that shows up. So I'm going to drag in that direction and I can just left click to where I want it to be, or I can type in a dimension. Maybe I want it to move over 1.5 inches. So it just moves over to make sure it clears that bolt. I have another one here, so I'm just going to drag it in that direction. Maybe I'll do 2 inches. So it clears that and everything adjusts. Let me rotate around to make sure none are on this side. So I have another one. Just gonna do need to go a little bit further. So those all look fine. So I can go around here. I have another one. So this even works not only on flat handrail, but it also works on handrail that is at a slope. So on the stringer. So I can go in either direction as well. So maybe I'm going to go up here 2 inches. And so that clears the bolt. And maybe I have this one up here and I drag it up and it picks up that there's a return there and goes along the return. So if I drag this, so I just drag that one, it adjusts it and puts it on the return. I can drag it again and drag it down the slope. So it'll pick up the difference between the return, oops, move up 1 inch. So it will pick that up right away. That concludes today's webinar on the new 2018 handrail enhancements. I've covered quickly adding handrail to stringers, and even if you want to add just a grab bar, continue flat rail, and moving posts. I'll now give you a few moments to type in your questions, and also I'm going to pull up. We do have on our YouTube channel for handrail, we have handrail part 1, handrail part 2, and then we also have 2017, there's new handrail enhancements there as well. So on our YouTube channel, we have a whole bunch of videos that cover more in-depth of how to model with handrail. These are just covering the new 2018 enhancements.